All right, guys, welcome to another show. I have a special guest with me today. It is Dennis Chen, Coach Dennis Chen. He is a coach here at Fight Fit, and really, he works with anyone willing to put in an effort to improve themselves. All right. He hopes to help by creating innovative exercise programs that are fun and challenging, and he hopes to utilize his kinesiology background to provide advice regarding postural mobility issues that affect the general population. He holds a Bachelor of Science in Kinesiology with a minor in Rehab Sciences from the University of Waterloo, and he's currently studying to be a chiropractor at the Canadian Memorial Chiropractic College, just right, not too far from us here in Toronto. He hopes to use what he will learn in his future studies to educate others and to treat as many people as he can. Dennis, welcome to the show.
Hi, it's good to be here.
Awesome. All right, Dennis, I want to take it back. What got
Mm.
you into fitness?
Oh man, that's a question. Growing up, I've always been into sports. Just a really active kid and love to try anything new. I grew up playing a little bit of soccer, and then eventually, all my friends introduced me to like a bunch of different sports, like basketball, volleyball, track and field, and I joined a bunch of sports teams throughout high school, and um, yeah, that just got me into being physically active. Eventually, when it transitioned into university and moving away from home, everyone automatically started to work out, and that got me into, I guess, pursuing fitness, getting more interested in that. Working out on my own time, just exercising, doing a lot of uh, like organized sports intramurals in university, and from that point on, I just became immersed in the whole world of fitness, and I wanted to learn and pursue how to get stronger and just work on conditioning myself to get stronger and overall for like sports and intramurals and what have you.
Got it. So you're a fellow kinesiology student like myself. I guess it's like one of those things that you love sports, so why not learn more about it? Is that why you took kinesiology?
Yeah, I mean, there's a pretty good story behind it. What actually got me into the whole kinesiology and I guess the field of rehabilitation was um, a story with my friend back in high school. We were both in I guess you could say, a sports class that focused mainly on basketball. And there was one day where we were all in a scrimmage and just playing a regular pickup game. He managed to get a steal and he was on a breakaway. Funny thing is, like, everyone was cheering him and like, oh man, you got this, like you're gonna get the layup, and he was running so quick. And I guess the momentum of him going up for the layup was a bit too much. And as he landed on the ground, he ran into the wall, and he kind of he hit his arm at a weird angle, and he actually dislocated his elbow. I'm not going
Oh
to drop
wow.
names, but he knows who he is. Um, and yeah, it was quite shocking to everyone. And I remember the coming weeks after he got injured, he was talking to me about where he went to, like a physio clinic, and he was talking to me about like these people that work with that specialize with working with people that get like injuries and stuff and helping them recover. They have experience like working with athletes, with different populations, and he was telling me they were called physiotherapists. And from someone from high school who loves sports and stuff, and just hearing about like a profession that worked with athletes that helped them get better and recover from injuries, that was completely up my alley. So um, from that, what he told me, that kind of got me and pushed me towards like, I guess, an interest towards rehabilitation. Incidentally, you can't just jump into like physio right away. So Chiro is I guess, the entry level program to progress into that area of rehabilitation. So yeah, I pursued kinesiology after that, and that was the beginning.
Nice. So your friend's injury, his misfortune led to your your direction into your profession of choice. So you knew going into kinesiology you wanted to go into rehab.
Yeah, like immediately right away, it was what spoke to me and what attracted me most, and like the whole like I guess realm of kinesiology and where it would lead to. I enjoyed the concept of being able to help people get better through rehabilitation, whether it be like what kind of like treatments or modalities were offered, or um, exercises. I thought that was a
Mhm.
like a lovely concept to be able to pair like treating someone and teaching them exercises, and hopefully those two together will aid in their recovery.
Very cool. Because and now let's talk about this picking. You know, you're doing kinesiology, and then you have to go into a post grad program. Why chiropractic versus like physio school or something else?
Uh, yeah. Cairo was incidentally not my first choice, I'd say. What actually drew me to chiropractics was through a personal experience of mine. In university, went to Waterloo, as mentioned before, and I was in the co-op program. Luckily enough, my first work placement was actually in a chiropractic clinic. And during that time, I actually had no experience with chiropractics at all. All I knew was like what from all my volunteer experiences from physios telling me, oh, they crack backs, and um, that's what they were known for. And yeah, I had no idea until I went to my first, I guess, week of volunteer or at my placement. Um, During that time, I actually had back pain or upper back pain. And there was this pain that shot from the left side of my upper back all the way to the front of my chest. And I had it about a year. And I concluded myself that this was from, I think, working out incorrectly. I think like once you first go into university, everyone starts working out. So you automatically start working out. Because I just started working on university, I didn't have any correct form, and no one was telling me otherwise on how to properly work out. So that might have irritated something.
Mhm.
Um, anyway, yeah, there was this pain that was happening in my upper back that went to my chest. And then I told the chiro that worked there one day, and he sat me down and did an assessment. He was like, "All right, Dennis, like here, I'm gonna uh, do a little bit of adjustment, and you tell me how you feel." And he performed a rib adjustment because he concluded that I had like a rib dysfunction at the time that irritated a nerve nearby, and I've never had that pain since. And yeah, that pain was for about 1 year, and it was any time that I kind of like hunched over or was like reaching over something, I'd feel the shooting pain from like the back of my chest, my back all the way to my chest. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was from that one experience that kind of just opened my eyes to what chiropractics had to offer. And
How old were you then? You're probably in your early 20s, right? Yeah.
I think like 20, 20, 21 maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. So this just goes to show people listening that even the young people who are out there get issues when they aren't doing proper technique and form. And something like that led to a year of pain, which could have been avoided if they've gotten the proper technique and form. But you know, when you're young, that's how you learn, right? And actually, it's a good thing because you got this injury, somebody fixed it, and inspired you to get into chiropractic, right?
Yeah, it's a blessing in disguise, is what I'd say.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So tell me, how did you get into? Oh, talk to me about fitness. How'd you get involved with us? That I don't think many people know this story.
Well, story goes way back. I think is it almost like more than a year now? I'd say.
Yeah.
Um, I was still in university, finishing up a my last term, and incidentally, I went to school growing up with Joe's cousin. Yeah, and we were just discussing one day about like the future and like how once we're done school, where we're gonna head off to. And then she brought up the whole thing about my cousin Joe owns a gym, and he regularly has like offers an internship for anyone interested in like starting a career in fitness. And from that point on, I was like, "Oh, I'm sold right away." I was immediately going to jump into this. So she gave me Joe's contact information, messaged Joe. Joe reached out to me, and we had a discussion about coming in for an internship in terms of learning from other coaches, learning how to run classes, create my own programs, just to get a bit of a kickstart into the whole realm of fitness, which me myself, I had no, I guess, real experience in per se. Being in kinesiology, I had, I guess, the background in terms of like anatomy, physiology, and like biomechanics. And I've done a bunch of courses about like exercise programming for, I guess, like a fitness population as well as the general population as well. So I thought it was a good use of my what I learned in school, and great way
Absolutely.
to gain experience.
Dude, so I gotta tell you, because I did kin, and I wasn't in fitness like at the time when I was doing kin, because you're talking about theory and then you're talking about practical, two separate things. And I
Oh
think a
yeah.
lot of people think a lot of the guys in my that were really smart anatomy, physiology weren't they were horrible trainers. I gotta tell you, like the guys that I knew that were really good, because I think they had a really good grasp of the theory, but they didn't realize how different it is when working with people and what the skills you need in order to work with people. So talk to me about that. Like getting into the fitness industry, what was the thing that was the biggest like aha moment? Or you know what? Let's start with this. What was the most challenging thing about being in the fitness industry for
Uh,
yourself?
for myself, I think it was just trying to uh, speak in front of others. I think that was something I wasn't used to. Like being able to properly project my voice and just like confidently um, say what I need to say in front of like a big group of people. I was quite familiar with working with kids growing up and through uni and through my work placement. I've done a couple placements that involved me speaking in front of kids and teaching them how to exercise. But when it came to starting off in the fitness industry, I was working with a more of a general population of adults. And that was something that I was a little bit intimidated with, and a little bit, to be honest, I was scared at first. Not used to speaking in front of this many adults and trying to demonstrate an exercise with like proper form, and just trying to get my thoughts across was something a little bit challenging at first. Um, Given the amount like time afterwards, and just yeah, just having to go through it, and um, yeah,
That's
just
yeah.
speaking in
It's
front of people, it just like it comes with practice, right? And
for
after that,
sure.
it just becomes like nature, and yeah, works out.
Oh yeah. So if you found the most challenging thing was getting up in front of people and speaking confidently. And you know what I find? I find the people that have worked with kids, not to say like working with adults, very similar with working with kids. I feel at least, because I've done both. I've done both. I actually find it easier to work with kids at sometimes, because you could just kill them with enthusiasm. But
Oh,
with adults,
definitely.
like kids can shut off everything when stuff is going on. They could basically be focused, but adults, they got stuff in their head, they got junk, because they're thinking about stuff that they did with their kids, they got work on their mind, they have stressors, they have all these things, and you actually have to work harder to capture attention of adult clients.
Oh, definitely. I mean, in comparison to when I was working with kids, I could just like raise my voice and use like kind of a more childish tone, and kids will automatically listen to me, and like their attention will be, "Hey, there's Coach Dennis." Um, but when it comes to working with adults, it's a whole different thing, and I gotta work a little bit harder just to get your attention and get you listening. And even in class, sometimes I'll maybe notice I'll lose a couple of couple of clients, but you make do, and it's a learning
Yeah, yeah,
challenge, and it's
yeah.
great.
We don't have to call them out, right?
Not
Sometimes
yet, no.
I, I threaten separating clients from time to time. I'm like, guys, I'm gonna separate you guys if you guys don't stop talking. Well, the whole
uh,
separation thing. All right,
yeah.
so you've been with us for, I think you started your internship one summer, then you left for a summer, then you came back.
Mhm.
So you've been with us for a full year. What do you think? What do you think what is the best part of your job right now? Would you say?
Best part is, that's quite a question. To be honest, it's just getting to interact with all the clients, and to see them on a weekly basis and seeing familiar faces. It's a break from what I'm usually used to in terms of, well, I'm also a student right now, so there's a little bit of a balance I have to keep between going to school and working. And yeah, the best part is just getting to see all the clients and see the progression as well. Seeing, like, we have a 6 week challenge, and it's nice to meet clients initially when they start off, and then see the progression from like week 1 all the way to week 6, and how much they've changed and how much they've progressed in terms of losing weight and getting stronger, and being confident overall in who they are as a person in terms of like mental health, as well as their physical appearance as well. And yeah, it's just nice to interact with the community.
That's awesome. So I see us as, like, fitness coaches of such a broad skill set that we have to encompass. We got to have the people skills. We have to have the knowledge, the scientific knowledge, the background on why we do things. And I think it's such a rewarding job because, like you said, you get to see that progression. Like not many people have that close, like, can with their jobs get to see that transformation that we see with a lot of clients. And I think that's the one thing that keeps us going, is that transformation. I almost think of personal trainers like, actually, a lot of jobs, a lot of therapists are like behavior change specialists. We're good at changing people's behaviors and adjusting them. All right, so we got the thing about what you like about the best. What do you like the worst?
The worst. It's uh, I'd say it's like the worst, but also the best thing, or it's good and bad at the same time. Um, these people know who they are, but in classes, it's like when I'm demoing or when I'm trying to lead a class and actually run it. Some of the, I guess, clients we've worked with a little bit, they've been with us for a while. We're more familiar, and like obviously there's a camaraderie there, and like people we like to poke fun, and there's also like a lot of inside jokes and stuff. So one thing is that I don't like is when I guess, like, it becomes too, like like the clients are interacting with, or like they're not focusing on the workout as much as they should, and they're just kind of like having fun in class and goofing off. And like, don't get me wrong, I like that, but at the same time, you're here to work out, kind of thing.
Yeah.
um, and yeah, it can ends up distracting other people, but at the
Yeah.
same time, it's like I do enjoy that, because it's nice to see like everyone's having fun, and everyone's like being friends with one another, and like there's a relationship there. And uh, it's it's good and bad.
Yeah.
um, yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. So you'd like to keep things light in the workouts and in a group workout, but at the same time, when you're here, it means business. I always make the joke that, like, hey, when you're here, you got to get to work outside. There's coffee shops. There's all that stuff to do after, to socialize before and after the workouts. But during the workout, we got to get to work. All right. So let's talk about you're in chiro school now. You're in what, second year? Is it
I just finished first year.
second year? So you got 3 more years to go in this program.
Hmm.
What do you see as your long-term goals?
Oh man, Joe, these questions.
Deep, getting
uh,
deep here.
Long-term goals. Um, Personally, I don't see myself just doing one thing in the future. I think I've known this for quite a while. Uh, like I want to be doing multiple things, and for myself, I think uh, I get if I'm doing one thing for too long, I get bored of it. Um, and I like the idea of being able to do chiropractics as my main focus and career in the future. But I also really enjoy what I'm doing right now with Fight Fitness, which is coaching others and creating these workout programs and helping people just uh, tra- transform and progress in their own like fitness um, lifestyle. And um, yeah, like I enjoy like having this kind of balance between the two, and I want to be able to pursue this in the future. And I think it's a nice balance. It's not just focusing on one thing, and that goes with, I guess, like my like personal, like, I don't know if you'd say it's like a motto or like a uh sort of um I'll just say motto for now, but I like having like
Mhm.
multiple things to balance with. It's just not one thing I'm
Got it.
focusing on. Yeah.
So what do you see? Like some type of multidisciplinary clinic? Is that where you're thinking?
In the future, I hope to be able to incorporate uh like what I'm learning in Cairo and using that the training aspects from what I get from working at Fight Fit into a whole like multidisciplinary rehabilitative uh approach to, I guess, helping people recover.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Awesome. Awesome, Des. I guess it's still early. You're still just finishing first year of Cairo. You got 3 more years to go, so lots of learning to do. I want to take this time to go into questions. So if you have questions, we are answering this live. We got a few already questions from our clients. They're burning questions that they have posed. First one is this one. How do you build the chest muscle? How do you build the chest muscle? Dennis, you want to answer this one first? Or you want me to go first?
Uh how about I'll let you go first. Give me
You let
some
me go
time.
first. All right, we get this question a lot. How do you build? This question actually, when I think about how to build the chest muscle, it's like, how do you build any muscle, right? Any muscle needs to be built with progressive overload. That means you always increase the amount of weight, sets, volume, whatever it is, over an extended period of time. So if you want to build a particular muscle, say the chest, you need to be incorporating you need to be increasing volume over time. That is the only one of the best scientifically research way to increase muscle size. Okay, so doing things like increasing the weight is one way to increase volume. You can also increase the amount of repetitions. You can increase the amount of sets. You could play with the tempo. All different ways to increase intensity and volume over time. I see a lot of this is an interesting one because I get this one about women too with butt. How do
Mhm.
I make the butt bigger? How do I attack the butt? And then and I see all these Instagrammers, influencers, fitfluencers having these like side bridging exercises, these glute
Mhm.
bridging exercises. I mean, you'll feel the burn, but where's the progressive overload? Are things getting increasingly difficult to increase
Mhm.
size because the body's going to get used to it? So that's my answer to it. Progressive overload. That's how you to build the chest or to build any muscle. Dennis?
Uh, yeah, I think that's a great answer. Progressive overload definitely is with any kind of program that focuses on hypertrophy or increasing the size of the muscle. I also think a good thing to think about is the function of the muscle anatomically and what movement the muscle is supposed to perform. So with the chest muscle in particular, there's a movement chest muscle is supposed to do. It's like adduction. It's this movement of bringing the limb closer towards the midline of your body. So if you think about that, like what kind of exercise that focuses on that kind of movement is, I guess, pec flies would be a good one. Targets that motion. As well as something to consider is I guess, the orientation of the muscle fibers as well. I'm speaking of this in terms of like a chiropractor's perspective or like a chiropractor student's perspective. But in terms of chest muscles, the way the fibers are orientated, oh man, how do I do this on camera? Um, Starts off in like your sternum or like your chest bone or like the one right here, and it fans outward towards your arm and attaches to the certain point. So thinking about like certain movements that target the different areas or the regions of that muscles are also important, and applying the concept of progressive overload is also important. Using specific movements, like we said before, pec flies for adduction, but also you'll notice people doing a lot of bench pressing as well. and that's a pushing motion, and that utilizes the chest muscles as well. So in terms of, I guess, answering that question, using a bit of Joe's progressive overload, but also thinking intentionally of the movement of the muscle and targeting different areas of the muscle as well. So different locations of the muscle, so the upper portion, the middle, and then the lower, with different variations of where your arms are placed and how that movement applies, will gradually get to a bigger chest muscle. Alternatively, that can apply
Good.
for any of the muscle.
Exactly. Love it. Good. Love these answers. Questions. Great questions. All right. Next question is, what foods should we avoid when dieting? What foods should we avoid? Here, I'll make this one simple.
Okay.
The foods that go over your calorie limit. All right.
Cool.
When you are dieting, and I'm not going to say like, sometimes I don't like to use the word dieting so much. I would like to say your nutrition plan. If your nutrition plan says that you need to be at a calorie deficit in order to lose weight, you need to avoid foods that do not go over that. So, first and foremost, avoid foods that are high in calories. Simple. If I talk about the nutritional priorities principles. First and foremost is calories. Second thing you got to look at is macronutrients. The proteins, fats, and carbs, because understanding that helps you do 80% of it. So if you know that if you're staying under your calorie limit and you're also within the proper macronutrient portions that you should be in, making sure you get enough protein, making sure you get it. Actually, you should have some carbs if you are working out to optimize performance. It's not necessary. Carbs aren't necessary because a lot of people do well without it, but to optimize it is important. And also, you do need fats. So really, the foods that you should avoid are the ones that are going to go over your calorie limit. Dennis, what do you think about this question?
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Definitely, if we keep it simple, obviously, not going over your calorie limit is the easiest way, I think, to when it comes to dieting and trying to lose weight. Um, Also, thinking about the types of food you're eating. Sure, you can eat a certain amount of food that can be under your calorie limit, but if you're not thinking about the actual food itself in terms of the nutritional content behind it, and you're just eating anything to fill up that calorie, even if it's below your limit, then it's going to impose certain effects on your body that may be even may not even be beneficial to losing weight, or I guess in dieting sense. So obviously, like, I think reducing the amount of the foods that cause like inflammation, anything processed has a lot of unnecessary chemicals within it. I feel like that is something that's people mostly know, but yeah, like, it's really easy to just go out and buy something from any kind of restaurant or like fast food just because for convenience sake, and it could be cheap and it could fill you up, but in terms of the amount of harsh chemicals in there, it can influence the physiology or like the biochemical processes that are occurring in your body. And getting, I guess, natural foods is probably the best when it comes to dieting, in terms of providing the amount of necessary calories as well as the essential nutrients needed in order to properly maintain bodily functions and even enhance the like your metabolism.
Good answer, man. There's this study that's been going around about like these days that people are gaining more weight than ever. It's much harder for people to keep weight off, and I think a lot has to do with a lot of processed food out there. Like they put a ton of chemicals in there to better the taste, MSG, all these things that like kind of affect your hormones and affect the way your body senses food. That really affects our satiety, I think, and that's why people are gaining tons of weight. So
Yeah.
definitely
uh,
good answer. Stick to whole foods.
yeah.
Yeah,
If I could just touch on that really quick. um,
sure.
Incidentally, like, I personally myself, I'm no nutritional expert, and I'm learning a lot of nutrition from school itself. But it was recently that I actually tried a more of a plant-based diet, in terms of just to see what it's like, in like terms of losing weight and my overall energy levels. And I've noticed within like, I tried it for about like a month, I'd say. um, I lost weight pretty easily. I think it was for the challenge, and I lost about 5 pounds. Um,
Nice.
Granted, like I didn't like I was at around 160, I'd say, and I dropped to 165 and dropped to 160. I'd say.
Hmm.
Um, but I did notice switching to plant based and cutting out anything that was processed. I had more energy. I felt less lethargic throughout the day. I was able to focus in class.
Hmm.
Um, uh, yeah, just my body felt cleaner overall. And after eating, I didn't feel as, I guess, heavy or bloated.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, and I'm not like trying to push out like, oh, everyone should immediately start being plant-based or vegan or what have you, but I'd say like do your research and understanding like the benefits when it comes to maybe reducing the amount of meat you're eating, as well
Hmm.
as reducing the amount of processed foods and switching to more of a natural diet. You'll notice the difference almost immediately.
For sure. I like to just say like keep it simple, simple, like almost 1 to 2 ingredient foods. Like that, that
Definitely.
does a lot for a lot of people. If you stick to like single ingredient foods, anything more than like 5 ingredients or 10 ingredients, something's up. And then so if you look at the nutrition label and all these crazy things, let's go to the next question. I am struggling with the diet. What can I do? All right, this is a good one. First off, if you are struggling, I would identify where you are spending and where you are investing your time. And I would almost kind of look at your calendar and look at your day and do a little bit more pre-planning. Preparation is going to be super important when it comes to um, setting up a diet per se. That you want to make sure that you're planning in advance, making sure your meals are planned in advance. You know how many calories you take in advance. All those things would help when it comes to struggling with a diet or any. It's actually a lot of things that you've um, if you're struggling with something, typically has to do with the planning side of things. That's what I would look at first and foremost, making sure you're doing all that. Dennis, what do you think about this question?
Yeah. Big part of it is the planning aspect of it. Once if you are able to plan ahead of time and know what you're going to be eating throughout the day or even throughout the week, then it makes it a lot easier in understanding how much you're supposed to be eating per meal, per day, and what kind of foods you're not supposed to be eating, and it keeps yourself a little bit more accountable. Um, I've seen this quite a lot actually with the clients I worked with and people struggling with diets, and a lot of it may come to your uh, working overtime, just don't have time, or to make your meals ahead, and um, yeah, like life gets ahead, and you might have kids, or it could be due to kids, might be due to work, or no energy at all at the end of the day, and maybe just ordering something is a lot more easier, but um, planning ahead like at the very beginning of the week, I like to start off with on like a Sunday and just meal prep for maybe not the whole week, but like at least like 2 or 3 days, just so I can get a little bit ahead, and at the end of those 3 days I'll plan again.
Yep.
uh,
So
yeah.
awesome. Fail to plan, plan to fail. Karen left a comment. I'm trying to go that way. Not so much meat. Awesome. Nuts and veg, she says.
Nice.
Awesome job, Karen. All right, this is going to wrap it up. I always like to ask this question. You're on Being a Ninja. I always believe everybody's life is like a movie montage of training. Like you get beat up and you train to come back. Do you have a favorite? Let me ask you this question first. Do you have a favorite action or kung fu movie that you like watching?
I grew up watching, oh, it's a classic, it's like Kung Fu Hustle.
Oh yeah.
It's I guess not like your regular like Bruce Lee or Jet Li or Jackie Chan, but it's one that stuck with me since I was a kid. Um, a lot of comedy in it. Just yeah, it was lighthearted and introduced like the whole world of martial arts to me. My dad introduced me when I was young, and I still watch it to this day. I'd recommend to anyone if you want to laugh and just want good times, then that's the movie.
Kung Fu Hustle. That's a yes, very lighthearted movie. Awesome, Dennis. Thank you so much for being on the show and sharing your secrets on health, wealth, and being kick butt. If people want to learn more about you, what's the best way to get at you?
Yeah, you can reach me on my Facebook or my Instagram. My Instagram tag is Denchen, DNNCHEN. You can also reach me at FightFit, dennis.fightfit@gmail.com. It's probably the easiest way to get in contact with me, and I'll do my best to respond immediately.
Awesome. Thanks for being on the show, Dennis. Take care.
Take care. Have a good one, guys.